That's good.
Yeah, I guess I start generically, really. As an Arsenal fan, what's your general feeling? Obviously, there's a little bit of distance now between your utter capitulation at the end of the season and now.
Come on, mate.
There's a lot more to a season than just a 7-game window. So how are you feeling as an Arsenal fan?
Yeah, I think with a bit more distance, I'm not really, because normally sort of throughout the week I'll be like taking in like a bit of like content and stuff just before the next game, but I've not really been doing that this week because there actually is a lot of stuff out there to listen to, but I've just sort of tried not to try to switch off from it a bit. Yeah, after the disappointments has kind of like, evaporated a bit. I think, it has been a really, really good season. We were still in with like a mathematical chance of like winning the league right up until basically the second last game, till you guys put paid to that. So yeah, I think it has to be judged as like a really successful season. And I think the mood at the Emirates actually in the final game, I thought it might be quite somber, but actually it seemed quite, looking at all the pictures and stuff, it seemed like it was quite a sort of uplifting kind of mood. I think just everyone probably acknowledging that it has been like a really good season, and we've exceeded our expectations, and we've qualified for the Champions League, which was the main objective. Yeah, so we didn't win the league, but I think if we was to mark it out of 10, say in terms of like a season, I think it has to be like an 8.5. I think, based on what the expectations were at the start.
Yeah. I guess like these next questions are probably going to be quite difficult to answer because it might be really hard to narrow down where the most impactful part of the field was for Arsenal. So like, who do you think? It's probably too hard to ask for one player, but like, okay, who surprised you the most this season?
Oh, that's a good question. Who surprised me the most? There's quite a few options there, I guess. Probably Granit Xhaka, to be honest. Yeah, probably Granit Xhaka. Good question.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's had such a weird like relationship with like our fans and stuff, and I think last season he was the season before the one that's just finished, he was much improved as well, and he was starting to win people over. But the way he played the season just gone was we'll call it last season now, I guess. The way he played last season was insane. He was so consistent, and the level of our team went up, obviously, but the level of like his performances went up as well. And he almost kind of like showed us how good a player he can be. It's a shame it looks like he's leaving now, but yeah, I'd probably say he was the player that exceeded expectations the most. But there were quite a few. But I'm thinking Saliba actually as well would be a notable mention, but I'll go Xhaka.
Yeah, and I was looking at your stats and I saw that he's scored 7 and assisted 7.
Yeah,
and he's not. Yeah. Has he ever done anything like that before? Because he's not creative.
No. Because he was playing quite a bit forward as well. And I mean, I didn't think he even had that in him as a player. Really, didn't think he was capable of it. I thought he was just sort of a deep lying like playmaker, I guess, who was like, fairly reliable on the ball, a bit slow, but he'd give you like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 most weeks. But no, he's proved he is a lot more than that as a player.
Yeah. There was that time a little while ago with Xhaka when, let's say 5 or 6 years ago, when, I don't know, there was a moment, you'll know more than me as an Arsenal fan, but there was a moment where he was almost booed off the pitch by the Arsenal fans.
Yeah. He was
criticising the Arsenal fans back. But at the same time, I remember Man City were interested in him. Like,
really? Okay.
Guardiola and Arteta were looking to like nab him. So they obviously, there was no evidence at that time that Xhaka was like as good a player as he is. But Man City or Arteta obviously saw that.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, and to be fair, well, he's obviously one of Wenger's kind of like final signings, I guess. And Wenger always said that he was like when he bought him, he said he was like a box to box midfielder, and we didn't really see that until this season, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And how long's that been? How long's he been there for?
I think he was bought 2016. That's like 7 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, long time. Yeah.
Who would you say is your out and out player of the season?
Out and out player probably has to be Martin Odegaard.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
There are a few contenders. Yeah, there are a few contenders. I think he just edges out Saka purely because I think Saka really, really went off the boil in the last like 6 or 7 weeks. But Odegaard was still kind of, maybe not as consistent, but he was still there a lot of the time, pushing us forward. And his numbers, I think, are probably slightly better than everyone in terms of goals and assists. Go Odegaard.
Yeah, I'd agree. And actually, every time I've watched Arsenal, he's the one who's always looked world class. And he's the one who's always looked like he could slip into any European team. Do you think he's going to, maybe we'll do a video, but do you think he's going to attract attention from like bigger clubs?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he was at Real Madrid, weren't he? They bought him when he was 15 or 16 for like insane money. So I guess that's a good thing. He's already been there. So hopefully he won't want to go back. I don't know. I think at times he's looked that good that he's looked at that level that you think like a Barcelona or a Real Madrid might come back and lap him up. You know, if you think of Real Madrid as well, like they've got to replace quite a few old aging players. But anyway, that's a completely different. Pete, I was just getting over the end of the season. Don't start making me feel worse.
No, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon at all. Right? But, he looks world class. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, give me your best moment of the last season.
What do you think the best moment? What do you think I'll say the best moment is?
Do you know what? I don't know because I'm not an Arsenal fan. My head has been with Forest.
Yeah. Fair.
It's going to be a North London derby.
So no, I've not actually gone for that. So best moment, what came to mind immediately was that Bournemouth goal when I first met you. But I don't feel like I can say that because I didn't properly enjoy it, if that makes sense. Because I was on my phone, I was on flash scores, I was like, fucking hell, yes. But it wasn't the same as watching it. So I think in terms of like, probably as a fan, most people would probably say that moment. But and then again, I'm kind of going for the same game for every single time, but for every single category. But I'm going to go for we also beat a couple of weeks before that. We beat Aston Villa in the last minute as well, when Jorginho scored. It hit the crossbar and it hit Emi Martinez on the head and went in.
I remember that.
Yeah. That was a great moment, actually. Just because Martinez had been like wasting so much time. He's like been quite vocal in like the press about like, kind of resenting Arsenal for not giving him enough like playing time when he was with Arsenal. So that was a nice moment. I'll go for that one.
Were there any games where you dominated from start to finish and enjoyed in that way, and thought to yourself, I haven't seen Arsenal play like this since the Invincibles? Were there any moments?
Yeah, really good question. A lot of moments actually. Probably even, mate, as recent as the first like half an hour against Liverpool at Anfield. So there have been quite a few in terms of 90 minutes the whole way through. Probably I've got that down as best game actually when we beat Man U. That was another quite sort of late goal. we beat them 3-2, but like I think the score sort of flattered Man U a bit. We were just so much better than them. We just had them like, yeah, I think Nketiah scored near the end. We just had them like pinned back like the whole second half, and I was like, oh my god, like we are so good now. Probably then I'd say. Yeah.
So that's your best game, Arsenal. Where was that? Emirates or Old Trafford? I remember watching it. There was a good goal scored, wasn't it? Rashford scored a screamer as well, if I remember rightly. But,
Rashford scored a good one. Yeah, and I've actually got Arsenal's what I think is the best, what I've put down as best goal of the season from that game as well.
Okay, so this is like you're answering all the questions here. Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
Best goal was
Saka against Man United. Yeah, he sort of he kind of cut in and then just like smashed it with his left foot into like for about 25 yards. And then he sort of like did I think he like imitated like Rashford's celebration by like putting his hand to his head or something. Probably.
That was a moment. That was you at your peak, I think, last season. You really looked like a top team at that point.
Yeah.
And it really felt like a transition from old Arsenal. I say old. I mean old in terms of the last 15 years. Arsenal. Yeah. Into a new era, because you hadn't dominated a team like Man United like that since 2005. It didn't seem like you had anyway. So
yeah, agree. Yeah, so I think that was, you're right, January. That was a sort of like high point, and then it just sort of petered off, didn't it? Come April. Yeah, so I guess I've got those three categories written down, Pete. But you also asked a couple of really good questions as well. So I'll repeat that back to you, I think. So who do you think was your guys' most improved player? Yeah, most improved player stroke like biggest surprise, I guess.
Yeah, it's really hard to answer that from our perspective, because we came into the first game of the season with 23 different players.
That's true.
So there was no comparison, and a lot of the players that came up with us were either on the bench or had been sent back to their parent clubs or moved on or whatever. But I would say either Joe Worrell or Ryan Yates. In that, there were. Do you know what? I'll add Brennan Johnson in there as well. Yeah. I'll talk more about Brennan Johnson in a minute, but those three proper Nottingham lads who have played for us in the Championship, they all had question marks against their name as to whether they were going to swim in the Premier League, and the answer over the course of the season is like affirmatively yes, they can. So I guess to narrow it down, I would say Ryan Yates.
Okay.
Who technically leaves a lot to be desired. He's not a pretty footballer to watch. Yeah. He can give the ball away quite a lot. He's not fast with his feet. He's a bit clumpy to watch. But the way he impacts games in the Premier League, the way he hustles, the way he niggles at players, and he does it in such a way that he'll niggle and he'll know exactly where that line is between being a nuisance and getting a yellow card. And he's just a genius at it. And our stats with him in the team without him are, they're really noticeable. So Ryan Yates, for someone who was playing for Notts County a couple of seasons ago on loan,
wow,
to being a really, really important Premier League player for us, I'd say he's probably the biggest surprise for me. Yeah.
And that's always nice, isn't it? Seeing players that that just care a bit more because they've been like brought up with the club and stuff. And I guess it's probably even nicer to say, as you say, making that step up with you guys, whether he could do it or not, seeing him like flourish must have been nice. Yeah.
And what's nice as well with Ryan Yates is that he hasn't tried to be anyone different. I was a bit worried that when he came up to the Premier League, he was going to try and add to his game and try and maybe overcomplicate it. But what he's done is he's just stuck to what he's good at, which is just being a complete nuisance on the pitch, and got better. He's just got better at that.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to, start doing boners or something. You know what I mean? Like,
What kind of player would you like compare him to? Do you think like another player in the Premier League or another player from the past? Or
he's a bit of a throwback because he's not pretty. He just harasses. He's got a bit of Kante about him in that he covers an enormous amount of ground every match. He's so fit, but he's nowhere near technically as good as Kante.
yeah,
And he also reminds me a little bit of like Joey Barton.
right, okay, yeah,
Do you remember Lee Cattermole?
yeah,
Yeah.
Thomas Gravesen. He played for Real Madrid. Yeah.
No, but these players that do a lot of dirty work to make the flair players look good. He's so good at it.
Mark Noble, do you think, or is Mark Noble a bit? Yeah.
Mark Noble's a bit more of a passer, I think.
Yeah.
But, similar type. No nonsense.
Yeah.
A player that you might not want to play against.
Yeah. As well, signing of the season, right? Who was you got a lot to choose from.
It's fairly easy. Like if you had asked me 7 games before the end of the season, it would have been really tough. But Taiwo Awoniyi, the way he ended the season, he kept us up. He scored 4 games in a row. The last 4 games of the season he scored, and he ended up with 10 goals, and he was injured for just over half the season. So, quite easily our best signing was our most successful signing was Awoniyi.
Yeah.
Honourable mentions to like Felipe, who was brought in January. He brought a real energy and experience to our back line. Keylor Navas, who again you would imagine was like invaluable for our sort of less experienced defenders, just having that voice behind them.
Yeah.
Serge Aurier, an absolute revelation. Amazing season. So there's quite a few. There's quite a few flops as well. But I would go with Taiwo Awoniyi, and he looks a real nuisance. So strong. Looks like he's a good finisher. And if we can keep him fit for a whole season, then who knows?
Well, will you guys try and sign Navas? Do you think permanently, or?
The talk is that that's not happening.
Okay.
We've got Dean Henderson on loan at the moment from Man United, and our plan always was to make him our number 1.
Yeah.
So the noises I'm hearing are that Dean Henderson wants to sign permanently.
Okay.
And if that's the case, that will be what happens. And I think Navas was only coming to us on a sort of, it was like a pit stop kind of thing. I don't think it was ever a long-term thing.
Right. Okay. We've never done player, have we? Really? We haven't done sort of overall player.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's split down the middle. I'd say the first half of the season was Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
And the second half of the season, quite comfortably, Morgan Gibbs-White.
Of course.
But basically, those two, they on the one point is that they both pretty much stayed fit the whole season, which most of our players didn't. And 2, the way we played as a team, which was so deep and without so much of the ball, all of our attacks and all of our goals were basically centred around Gibbs-White and Johnson breaking off. I think Gibbs-White edges it. I think some of his assists and some of his goals. Just so nice, so tasty. So I'd go with Gibbs-White. He looks such a talent.
So what was your favourite moment?
There's one moment that sticks out, like that we played Leicester in January, and at that time, Leicester weren't having the best season, but they weren't at that stage anywhere near favourites to go down. They were still Leicester under Brendan Rodgers, who had been year on year been in the Europa League. So they were still in January like a top club, and we played them at the City Ground, and we convincingly beat them 2-0. Like, it was a really comfortable 2-0 win. Yeah. And I just, having spent the last 23 years like in dogfights at the bottom of the Championship, to have a comfortable 2-0 win in the Premier League against Leicester, that just stands out for me as a game where just a really satisfying game. Really satisfying. We just looked, it was Forest in the Premier League looking comfortable against a really decent team.
Yeah.
That match hasn't aged well because obviously Leicester ended up, but it was probably the best I felt all season.
Yeah.
Because a little bit like you said a minute ago, like there were really good moments, but they were equaled with stress.
Yeah.
So that sticks out to me as a moment where I was relaxed and comfortable and just enjoying watching us put in a good performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And what is it? Because what's the like rivalry like between you guys, between Forest and Leicester? Is it quite a serious rivalry? And also, does it feel nice that you guys have stayed up and they've gone down?
I would say it's a niggly rivalry.
Niggly.
I'm not one of those fans that gets too like, I don't get too emotional about that sort of stuff. Derby's the one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Derby's the big one.
Derby's the big one. Okay. Yeah. Is that because of all the Brian Clough stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that just adds another layer.
Yeah.
But it seemed to me in my lifetime, at least, that Derby's always been the one that's been like sort of most heated.
Yeah.
Leicester is as well. But for whatever reason, just not quite as intense as Derby. But I think there was a lot of Forest fans really happy to see Leicester go down. Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah. I was a bit gutted where I live because now there's no Premier. Forest are now the closest Premier League team to here. Market Harborough. Okay, Pete. Yeah, and game as well. I don't know if you mentioned that already, but game is that the Leicester game?
No, different.
Okay.
I would say for me, it was beating Brighton at the end of the season. We beat them 3-1. We needed, and it was like absolute must win.
Yeah.
We were in the bottom three, and we had like a tough run in. Brighton was the beginning of that tough run in, and obviously Brighton are really good side.
Yeah.
And it was at the City Ground, and we just put in a really good performance. It was just so much energy, and the City Ground was rocking.
Yeah.
And we had, I think we had been talking before that about how we hadn't yet scored more than 2 goals in a match, and
we were.
Gibbs White slotted away a penalty in like the last 10 minutes that made it 3-1. That's probably the most emotion I've let off.
Yeah.
Forest. So yeah, I'd say us beating Brighton 3-1 at the City Ground.
Yeah.
Was the best game, and it was a really good game. Just a really good.
And then you scored 4 a few weeks later, right, against Southampton. Was that 4-3?
Yeah, 4-3.
Yeah.
I think Awoniyi had a huge part to play in it. We gelled. We came together just at the right moment. We got a lot of injured players back just at the right moment. We started finding the net just when we needed it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I guess that leads us on to the final one then, mate. Best goal.
Danilo scored a goal, and the actual finish itself wasn't great, but the assist, I don't know if you saw it, but Gibbs White
Yeah.
did this little flick.
Okay. I've just typed it in, Pete. I think it was in. It looks like it was in that Southampton game.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Okay. Yeah.
Or was it against Brighton? But yeah, Gibbs White did this like outrageous little flick, which was like a dummy. He sold 2 defenders short in the 10-yard, 12-yard box or whatever.
Yeah.
And Danilo finished it off. But I think the technique involved in that goal, combined with how much it meant, and at the end the importance of the goal, I think that was the best goal of the season.
I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson also scored a really, really good goal against Leicester in the same game I mentioned in January.
Okay.
Again, it was Gibbs White outside of the right boot assist, in behind the defence. Johnson runs on and tucks it away top corner. That was a top goal as well.
I've just watched that Gibbs White assist. That was silky.
It's so naughty. Yeah.
And I remember Brennan Johnson scored quite a good goal against Everton as well, I think, the game that was on Sky.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Leeds as well. No, he scored a great goal against Leeds outside the box on the volley. So there's been a few. Mangala scored a good goal. Nice little neat goal.
Who?
Mangala.
Okay. Yeah.
He scored a neat goal. But yeah, look,
nice.
I said to you right at the beginning of doing these videos that just seeing Forest in the Premier League is good enough, and I mean that. So picking these moments, like
I think
sport.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, and I think over the summer, I guess we'll have quite a bit of time to discuss stuff, and won't we, about sort of the coming seasons, and an interesting discussion would be about sort of the style of play as well, right? The style of football, and how long you'd be happy, I guess, to sort of watch. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously the novelty was last year because you're in the Premier League and it was successful and you stayed up. I just wonder whether there might be a bit of a turning point with that, but maybe we can save that for another show, or if you wanted to say a quick word about that now. Or
no, I think we should save it, but
yeah,
it's a double-edged sword kind of thing. It's sometimes really not great to watch, especially if you're the fan watching your team without the ball for like 80% of the match.
Yeah,
but the last 10 games of the season proved that it can work as well.
Yeah.
So there's a little balance there to be struck. It's just I think it would be really good to dive into that, and maybe with Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
Just looking at where your deficiencies lie, and whether or not it was like a tactical issue that meant you didn't quite get over the line. I don't know, but that'd be good to sort of dive into.
Tactical bid, maybe. Yeah. Tactical week.
Yeah, okay, we'll give it a fucking go. But...
give it a go, yeah. Brilliant. All right, let's get on to the quiz then, shall we? So we got just remind us, quiz. Just remind us, Pete, what the score is.
Yeah, I'm just looking for it now.
I had it.
The score after 2 weeks is currently 9-5 to me.
Okay, nice. I had it saved when I was winning in the practice runs, but I've lost the score now.
To be fair, all of this is still practice. So, but in terms of what the scores are officially now, 9-5 to me. Just so
9-5. Okay, mate. Okay, let's go then. Let's see what it is at the end. So, do you want to go first with the home ones?
Yeah, I'll ask you some home questions about Arsenal.
Perfect.
Same as always, 1 point for a home question, and 2 points for an away.
Yeah.
The away questions can be general knowledge or sport related or whatever. So yeah, all right. I think this first Arsenal question is. I think I've been a bit harsh, but we'll see. I think it's quite an interesting one.
Okay.
Who was Arsenal's top goal scorer in 2012-2013? I'm going to give you a little clue and say it wasn't one of your big hitters.
Okay. So I think that was I'm pretty sure that was the season after we sold Van Persie, who smashed it the season before. Sorry if you can hear my washing machine. I hope it's not too loud. So we bought at that stage. We bought Podolski, Cazorla, and Giroud. Probably one of those. Top scorer 2012-13. We weren't great that season. Giroud's first season wasn't great. Was he top scorer? Maybe I haven't even mentioned. Oh, maybe it was Walcott. It was Theo Walcott, wasn't it?
Fuck, you got it.
Come on.
You got it.
I was going to say Giroud, you know. Wow.
No. Yeah.
Theo.
It was.
Yeah.
Cool. I couldn't believe it.
Cool.
Yeah. Well done. That was a good one.
Cheers, mate. Good question.
Yeah.
Have you got how many? Cheers, mate. Have you got how many you scored or not?
Yeah. If you hold on a second, I will get it up. I'll give you a bonus point. So the score is 9-6 for getting that right. I'll give you a bonus point if you tell me how many scored.
He had a good season. 22.
Nah, not that good. 14.
Really? Are you talking league or all comps?
Premier League.
Okay. I knew he didn't score 22 in the Premier League.
He might well have done 22 all comps though. Let me get that up very quickly, just for the purposes of this bonus point.
It should say on his Wikipedia, right?
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm heading right now.
Yeah.
Okay, career statistics. I've done this so many times with so many players over the years.
Yeah.
Oh. 21 goals.
21. Fuck.
One out.
That was a good season for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good season. I think he was good around that time, wasn't he? He was quite impactful. But that is by far his best season. Oh, actually, he scored 19.
Yeah.
In 2016-17, yeah. So he had another good season then.
Yeah. Yeah, he did put together some good numbers. Yeah, good question, mate.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, good. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Right. Yeah, chuck me a first one then.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. It's good doing it this way. Okay, so I'm sorry, mate. I think this might be quite a hard one, but I saw it on the Forest Trivia, so let's see. Can you name the ex-Arsenal player who managed Forest between 1999 and 2001? I'll also give you a clue and say, it's not that obvious that he played for Arsenal. He wasn't a really big player for Arsenal.
99 and 2001.
Yeah.
We'd just gone down. Harry Bassett had left. Ron Atkinson came in, tried to keep us up, didn't succeed and left.
You've got it.
David Platt.
Oh, good stuff, mate. Good stuff, yeah.
He did an absolutely terrible job. He tore us apart.
Really? God.
Yeah, but he's the reason we spent 23 years in the lower leagues. He really is, and I have no expectation that David Platt is going to watch this, so I don't feel bad.
Honestly, one of our 8 viewers was David Platt.
Oh God! I mean, imagine that. That'd be fucking insane. Yeah, right. That was good. I'm happy I got that.
Yeah, good one, mate. Did you know that he played for Arsenal? It was very brief. I think it was 96.
Yeah, about 97, 96, 97.
Yeah, he scored a famous header for us against United in about 98.
That was a great header as well.
Yeah,
it was like a glancing header, wasn't it?
Yeah, classic commentary on it as well.
Yeah, I think Arsene Wenger started him when he first came in. I think he did anyway. But
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, that's good. 1-1.
Yeah.
Two good answers.
Yeah.
Right. Second Arsenal question. This should be slightly easier, but I might catch you out.
Okay.
Right. Who has the most goals and assists combined for Arsenal this season just past?
It's Odegaard or Saka. Oh, no, it's Odegaard or Saka. Odegaard's the top scorer. I think Saka might be the top assists, but yeah, it's a roll of a dice, really. I think it's Odegaard, but I'm not sure.
No, Saka.
Saka.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to have a guess at the figures?
15 goals?
Who are you saying? Who's that?
Oh, Saka, 15 goals, 8 assists.
No. That's way closer to Martin Odegaard, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, Martin Odegaard was 15 goals, 7 assists.
Fucking hell. Saka?
Saka, 14 goals, 11 assists.
It's very close, isn't it? But it's an extra assist for Saka, isn't it? Yeah. And that's surprising. You'd think Odegaard would potentially have more assists.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at all your stats. Saka had statistically the best season for you guys.
Yeah. Amazing stats. Should have got that.
For a fantasy bonus point, which I won't give you, who do you think's third in that list?
Martinelli.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Special shout out to Trossard though. 10 starts, 10 assists.
That's great. Yeah. 1 goal, I think.
One goal.
10 assists. Was that 10 assists for us? Because I know you got a lot for Brighton as well.
That's a really. I'm pretty sure that would be for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah.
Because on this is a stats sort of board for Arsenal.
Yeah. Good question, mate. I should have got that. Right, got your second one then, mate.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I don't know if you'll get this. You probably will, but let's see. But it was a few years ago. So, Mustafa Karayol played for Forest between 2016 and 2018. Do you know which country he played for or plays for? Which country is he from, basically?
I remember him.
Mustafa Karayol. I've seen his name. I don't know much about him. I think he might have played for Middlesbrough as well, maybe.
Yeah. He was like he's definitely an international.
Yeah. He is. Yeah.
I remember him. I'm sure I remember him playing in the World Cup 2018. The short answer is I don't know. But I'm gonna go with Tunisia.
It's Gambia.
Oh, Carriol! I remember him even more now.
Oh God, is that? Yeah, that's jogged your memory. Fuck.
Yeah, that what Gambia does. Yeah. Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. Oh shit. You've had lots of players, mate. To be fair, in the last 5 or 6 years.
So I'm not that embarrassed that I didn't get that, but I do remember him. Yeah, he was a decent championship player. Right, scores on the board before we move into the away sections is Pete on 10, Jamie on 6.
It's 1-1 today, right?
1-1 so far today.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Right, you're first.
Come on, I can feel my heart beating.
Well, I'm going to give you you seem to like your places on planet Earth and stuff, so I'll ease you in with this one. What US state is the city of Nashville in?
I'm going to say that I'm really bad at states and stuff, but I'm pretty sure that one is Tennessee.
That's correct.
Come on. Yeah. Brilliant. I struggle to sort of, yeah, cheers, mate. I struggled to sort of find questions for this time around, actually. I wasn't sure what to ask, but I've gone for a tennis one today just because it seemed quite topical. I was watching a bit of tennis. Do you know who is the top seed at the French Open this year? It's at Roland Garros. Who is the number one seed?
Wow. I could overthink this. Alcaraz.
Correct. Yeah. I was hoping you might say, I was hoping you'd say Djokovic. It's kind of 50-50 between them two, right?
Yeah, no, I think I did see not long ago that he was above Djokovic. But I don't know. Isn't that because Djokovic was injured? I don't know. Or is it just form?
Yeah, Djokovic has been injured a little bit, I think. But yeah, so he has missed a couple. And Alcaraz has been in great form. Yeah, he's won a couple of the other clay court tournaments.
Alcaraz looks set to take over, doesn't he? He just looks set to be the next big star. Yeah.
He does. Mate, they're due to meet in the semi-final, which would be Friday. So that really would be one to watch, I think, Alcaraz Djokovic. That would be good.
Quick one on tennis. How's Nadal getting on? I'm not following it this year. But...
He's not playing. He's injured.
Ah, no.
Yeah. Quick stat. Firstly, you don't get any points for this, by the way, Pete. But so this is the first Roland Garros French Open without Nadal or Federer since when? Do you think? What year did it last have no Nadal or Federer?
2000.
1998.
98.
Yeah.
Federer. That must be Federer, not Nadal. That must be.
Yeah, it would have been Federer, I think. Yeah.
He played in 98.
Wow, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, really good stuff.
25 years ago. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for
that. No worries, mate. Well done for the 2 points.
Cheers, mate. So what are we on now? That's
second away. What's that?
3-all.
3-all. Okay.
Right. I've got the bloody thing. Oh yeah. You won't know this, but so actually this is a bit. You're not. I'll be amazed if you know this, but you still could get it.
Okay.
What is the most sold flavour of Walker's crisps of all time?
Oh. It's a really interesting question. It's just going to be a guess. Obviously, like I don't know for sure. It's either going to be one of three. It's either going to be ready salted, cheese and onion, or salt and vinegar. It's not going to be smoky bacon or anything like that, or prawn cocktail, or any of the other weird flavours. I don't think it's cheese and onion. I don't think it's salt and vinegar. I'm going to go ready salted just because it's kind of a bit more like plain, and I feel like it's a bit less like people don't normally say, oh, I don't like ready salted. They'll say I don't like cheese and onion, or they'll say I don't like salt and vinegar. So for that reason, I'm going to go ready salted.
It's cheese and onion.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, the caveat I'm going to chuck in here is they might not, whoever wrote this question or whoever collated the stat might not have included ready salted as a flavour.
Right. Why?
Does that make sense? Because just adding, I guess ready salted is a flavour. But cheese and onion, salt and vinegar, bacon, prawn, cocktail, that is a flavour. Just adding salt is seasoning on potatoes, isn't it? But
I reckon they would have had sort of already salted. I reckon.
Yeah, okay. Well, cheese and onion, bestseller.
That's
Little facts with
surprising.
there.
I don't even like cheese and onion that much, do you?
Yeah, I do. I like it. Yeah, yeah. I'd say it's my favourite actually. Right.
Well done,
So
mate.
that leaves us. That's 5-3 to me this week.
No, I've still got to ask my second one.
Oh yeah, shit.
It's 3-3 at the moment. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm just assuming I'm getting this right.
You're just assuming you're getting it right, and you probably will. I think it might be a bit of a shit question and quite. I think you should get it, but again, I don't really know. Just going to ask it. Basically, it's been a politics question again. So he's basically recently been re-elected as president of his country. Can you name the president of Turkey? Who's recently been re-elected as president?
It's really annoying because I've seen loads of headlines.
Yeah.
I just haven't been that interested.
Yeah.
The most I've got for you is I think it begins AL or EL, but I don't know.
Okay, not gonna.
I haven't got.
No.
I haven't got a clue.
Begins at ER. You were close. ERD.
No.
Erdogan.
Again, right? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. That was a bit of a boring question. I could think of a better one. But at least it's 3-3. At least it's 3-3 and not 5-3.
Yeah, sorry, that was such an assumption, wasn't it? Why did I do that? Right, okay. Well, we started 9-5.
We'll put a light on.
Current scores heading into next week. 12-8 to me.
12-8. It's hotting up, mate.
Are we saying 1st to 20?
1st to 20, and then that's like, yeah. And what happens after that?
And then we'll reevaluate this whole quiz section, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Cool. Should I leave the recording there?
Yeah, that'll do.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon. David Platt and all.
Yeah. That was great. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Platty. We'll see you next week. Cheers.